Jerry Jones brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Good morning, Jerry. How are you? Still celebrating?
Hey, guys. Well, I'm not still celebrating, but I'm still happy, I'll tell you. That was an exciting win for us. And, boy, I looked out there, and I remember going up to Pittsburgh when we opened up with Deion Sanders making a big interception, and had a lot of memories for me playing the few games that we played up there at Pittsburgh. So it was a big win for us.
What were your emotions during the final drive, Jerry? That was a $60 million drive. Dak completely flipped the script. Just honestly, what were the emotions throughout those final few minutes?
I don't know about all that for sure, what all you just said, but I know that I was very disappointed when we took the ball back, handed it to the running back 4 yards back behind the line of scrimmage and got stopped. We were right up there with a foot to go, and so I wanted to sneak that thing in, Philadelphia style, push the quarterback in, if you will. But other than that, it was great to see Dak have that great play under those kind of circumstances, that kind of pressure, made up for what some of the things that he was being criticized earlier in the game.
Jerry, talk to us about Jaylen Tolbert, his development. What else you can share with us about him stepping in, hopefully, to that Brandon Cooks role?
Well, he comes from a great football family. His dad is a football coach. It's a matter of confidence for him. He's certainly had the talent from the get-go. I remember when we drafted him, we were excited to have him there. And he's finally been able to have the kind of game or the kind of plays that build confidence. He's got a big future ahead of him.
Jerry, why do you think that development has been a little slower for Jaylen Tolbert? Is it just a matter of getting reps?
I don't know that he's had slow development. And candidly, you say, well, this is in his third year. But, again, those things happen. You know, I'm a believer that there's a lot of players that have the ability to play football in the NFL that don't get those opportunities. Then they have the adverse things come their way, injury. And there are a lot of people that can and have had the opportunity to play in the NFL, just didn't get the chance.
Jerry Jones here on Sean and RJ 105.3 The Fan. Speaking of wide receivers, what can you tell us about Denzel Mims, your workout with him today, if true, and your interest in him?
Well, we just continue to look for depth and don't ever pay any attention to the players that come through here working out. They particularly aren't pointed. We're in a good spot. We're here in Dallas. We can work out a lot of players. This is kind of a central point in the country, and we're all the time wanting to keep up with where players are relative to their health, their conditioning, and just, if you will, look at them. And so we do a lot of that without any specific position in mind.
Jerry, do you like those kind of tough games you just had to play where you've got injuries going in, you get more guys injured during the game, but you still got to find a way to navigate a win? Do you like those? Are they good character-building games?
I like any opportunity we have to play young players. And, of course, I don't like the fact that we've have to do that because of injury. But I do like to see these young players play because you have to handicap a team. Your season is 1.5 college seasons long. I used to say 2 college seasons long. So you take a player that's at one level of maturation or one level of capability when we start a training camp, and you take it all the way through to January of the next year, if you will, and you've got a guy that has really evolved. By the same token, sometimes those veterans might depreciate as far as their talent level is concerned. And so you're continually wanting to see these guys get on the field. That's just a part of the process and a part of building a solid team.
Well, Jerry, that makes me think of Rico Gathers and the game that he had Sunday night. You guys have been answering a lot of running back questions. That felt like some justification in what you guys have been saying about let's just get some more opportunities versus all the Dalvin Cook questions and the other noise. How much did you like that game from Rico? Well,
first of all, Rico, in my mind, has always been violent running back. I'll use that word. That's a strong term. But, boy, he really knows how to get in the hole and get there quick. And his issue has always been availability, injury, one thing or the other. And consequently, it's good to see him sustain through these 4 games really, if you will, the punishment that a running back takes. But it's not surprising to see him doing well. We've always thought that his ability to run with the ball is outstanding. He had to work on his protections. He had to work on the other things that running backs have to do. So he's going to really help us as we get on into the year.
Jerry Jones joined us here on 105 through the Fan. You could see CD jawing at Dak on the sideline. It's not the first time it's happened. Is there an issue there between the two during the game, a competitive issue?
Well, again, it's nice to that's the beauty of television. That's the beauty of the way we present these games in the NFL, the way it works on the sideline. But, man, I've never been around a sideline but what you didn't have some jawing going back and forth between players, coaches, all the people involved in the game. It's a physical game. It's a game where each one's relying on the other. And you certainly have it going back and forth. The other thing, sometimes it looks like that there's some expression going on that's not necessarily one that is easily interpreted. You can have some pretty serious looks out there, and you can't tell what they might be saying. They may be saying, "I love you."
Jerry, you talk about...
In fact, that probably said a lot. Yeah.
Jerry, you talk about availability and injuries when you were talking about Rico Dowdle's biggest challenge. Looking at some of the availability and injuries you have, let's start with Tyler Guyton. He had come out of that game, obviously had to miss most of the remainder of that game. Where does he stand right now heading into this week against Detroit?
Well, we'll take a look at it at practice, but my thoughts would be that he's got a good chance to play against Detroit.
And, we've been talking about it. I know we're getting closer to the end of the timeline. How close are we getting towards the potential return of Duron Bland?
Well, I don't think he'll get there this week, but I think that he's on schedule, and we had thought certainly after the bye. But we'll see how he works out there this week, too. It's not impossible.
And I know Mike is always going to be a competitive one, try to push to play. Is that another one where you're going to kind of be evaluating during the practice week to see his availability?
Well, we will always be when they're this close. Yes, they'll be evaluated carefully, and that's iffy. But we'll see again how it works out this week. These days are critical.
Jerry Jones joining us here on 105 through the Fan. So, Jerry, when we talk about these injuries, a lot of what's been said has been guys behind these starters need to step up and step in and play a big role. At what point with the number of injuries you guys have sustained do you start saying, well, we have to replace these bodies because we're just getting hit so hard with so many injuries?
We start that early. We start that in the spring, and that's what you got your practice squad for. That's what you got your depth on the regular roster for. If you're not preparing for injury, depth pressure, if you're not doing that, you're not doing your job in the NFL because you have injuries. That's part of the game.
Jerry, has the volume been turned up, though, on you guys having to shop outside of the building to replace some of these bodies?
No, that'd be wrong to say turned up. The volume's always up. It better be up.
Jerry, I got one more injury question, if I may. These guys have really dropped the ball on it, if you know what I mean. But Tyler Smith was talking about Tolbert, and he said, I'm going to read you the quote here, he sprained his nuts. How do you sprain your nuts?
Well, again, I'm not going to really go into all of the ways. We don't have time. I mean, you can do it stepping off a curb.
Mm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or you can do it at midnight. You can do it at midnight.
I knew you wouldn't let us down. I knew you wouldn't let us down. Jerry, I have a league question. I have a league question with the weather the other night. Was there ever any chance in your mind that the game got pushed to Monday? What does it take weather-wise in the NFL from a time standpoint for a game to get postponed rather than just push it back 2-3 hours to play it that day?
Yeah, very extreme circumstances, but that is the order of things, is to replace it earlier in the week. The games that I've seen replaced were usually the only weather condition I've ever seen that I can remember is lightning. And then, of course, we had the game postponed with the injury at Buffalo last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago. But bottom line, those are rare occurrences. Boy, that's one thing we take a lot of pride in. The game is a game that should be played when the conditions are there and the elements. And so you don't have it much, but I thought that was an extreme situation we had the other night to delay that for national television, to delay that hour and a half.
Jerry, how happy were you for Coach McCarthy getting that win back home in front of all the friends and family?
Well, it's almost it's a magical thing to sit with Mike and talk about his growing up in Pittsburgh, and it was so unique, and he was so blessed to have such a wonderful family, a mom and dad that just really were just the ideal American family in my mind, and that's not necessarily easy street either. As you know, his dad's a public servant, fireman, policeman for sure. And then they had that great all-American life of growing up in a bar. And his dad had a bar. And, of course, those are all the stories that you can imagine, all the people stories that are around there. That's where Mike, in my mind, gets all his people skills, is from his experience as a young man, as well as his mother and dad's input.
Jerry, I saw a headline where Coach said he thinks the team is starting to find their identity after that Steelers win. 5 games in, what would you say is the identity of the 2024 Cowboys so far?
Well, I'd like to think that grit that they showed last night, or Sunday night, and that just refusing to take no for an answer, that's something that we did experience it, and so we can build off of it because it happened to us. It happened for us. And we had parts of that we'd like to take back from execution, from penalties, a lot of good things that would give you promise that if you can correct them, you can be a better team. We have some outstanding players. We've got a chance, in my mind, to evolve and be there ready at the end with the qualifications to get in the playoffs and maybe go further than we've been going.
Jerry, CeeDee Lamb was such a big-time player for you guys in the second half of games last year. So far this year, he's just got 4 catches for 25 yards in the second half. Is there something you guys can do to kind of jumpstart his production more in the second half of these games?
Well, I like the conversation because this time last year we were talking about getting more production in the first half, get him going early. And so when they're going early and you get them going early, then the conversation naturally is, well, why can't we get him going late? The game, the defenses, how the opponent is approaching it, all of that is impact involved. I haven't had anybody question whether or not we're trying to maximize the use of CeeDee Lamb, and you shouldn't. But this, when to get them going, when to not get them going, get them a catch, get them involved early. I guess I've heard that again. Another one of those that I've heard since I was in junior high. Get them going early.
Jerry, it's Detroit week, and y'all played a classic last year at AT&T, and you know a lot of us thought that it was a destiny to meet in the playoffs, but obviously didn't happen. Is this one of those games where you've had circled on the schedule to start the year, kind of like an early season measuring stick?
Well, this is just a game against a franchise that are doing an outstanding job up there. It's got one of the favorite coaches of everybody, plus one of ours too, since he's a former player. And but I'm a big fan of the Detroit organization. When I was thinking about being in the NFL, I thought, my goodness, they're the Ford family. Just really one of the iconic stories of what has made America special. It really meant something to me to get involved. We're an actual member of the Ford family. The founder of the assembly line was sitting around the table when we had meetings. So it's a pleasure to just play the organization. I know the Ford family well, and of course, as you well know, I'm endeared to the Ford family of North Texas and Texas and the automobile industry. And sell Fords myself at places in Arkansas and Brazil, really. And so the bottom line is it's got a lot of meaning for me to be playing Detroit.
How long did it take you to film all those TV commercials that we're seeing you and the family in?
Well, I don't know a length of time because that just exactly length, but I know I had a lot of fun doing it. And went up to where Don Meredith was raised, and we did it up on a ranch up in that area, and that was a great experience for it, and probably get a chance to do that again. But it was a lot of fun, and they didn't get half of them the way I was cutting up out there and doing all that stunt driving.
With all the donuts and everything. Jerry,
yeah. Go ahead.
Jerry, sorry. Last one coming in from the great Brian Broadus, so it actually may not be a great question. He said, can you ask Jerry if they would consider opening the roof for the Lions game to give Detroit some heat with the temperatures in the 90s for maybe some Cowboy home field advantage?
Yeah, tell Brian we got a lot more to worry about facing Detroit than that outing. Concentrate on getting down there and looking at some film and get with it.
That was better than the spray nut answer. Jerry?
Tell him hello. Please tell him hello. And guys, I'm getting ready to get on the helicopter just this second, just stepping onto it.
Go ahead.
And I'm headed out to Arlington, and we're going to at 10 o'clock today, we're going to announce our Indy Series partnership with the Rangers and Roger Penske, and to have the Grand Prix of Arlington. That's going to be open wheel racing all over Arlington this year, and in March 26th, really. But the bottom line is that we're excited about what we can do, take off the Formula One thing, but using the great Penske name and the great iconic Indy racing that he stands for. And so we're going out there to have a little celebration memorial for it this morning.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that. Congrats on the win. Thanks for the radio gold. Have a good flight, Jerry.
You bet, guys. Thank you. Bye.